Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. So glad to have you guys tuning in. My name is Ralph Grace. Thank you. Thank you. All the applause. Thank you. I think I'm gonna turn on the interview mode so you can kind of see where I am, because you might hear some background noise. I'm not in my office today. Let me see. Let me see if I can turn this on for you guys. There you go. I'm out at one of my super secret locations, and but thanks guys for jumping on, and we're going to continue to talk about resilience and being resilient. It's December 1st. It's December 1st already. Um, I haven't started shopping at all, but then again, I never do till about the 10th. But I think I better get started. But hope you guys are enjoying. Hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are enjoying this holiday season. We started playing all the music and everything, and it's all good. It's all good. Seth is going to join us in a few moments, my co-host Seth Silvers. But we're here right now, and so I want to continue on. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been talking about resilience and how to build resilience. Okay, Seth is here now. Let me invite Seth to the stage right now. And where's Seth at? Good morning, brother.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Let me get you on.
Yeah, if you make me a producer, I can jump on video. There we go.
Okay. There we go. There he is. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
I was just getting started now, just talking about this resilience thing,
Good.
and what it means.
You're at your spot in Wegmans.
I said super secret location. Now you just blew it. Now you just told everybody where I was. Now, so if I was trying to hide out, you see him, Steph? You see what you just did? If I was trying to hide out, now I can't hide out anymore. Thanks, brother. Anyhow, we're talking about resilience, and let me explain what resilience is. Just at the top of it, it's different than endurance. Endurance is, enduring through and how to make it through some adverse situation. Resilience refers to how you can deal with or bounce back from difficulties in life. That's what resilience is. And I think it's, we've had some difficulties. If you haven't had difficulties in life, just keep living, and you will have difficulties in life. You're going to have to have some resilience on how to some tools on how to bounce back. And so I don't even know where we left off last week, but I have to say this, and I want to start off here. I get so excited. I put my notes down. Most people that jump here on Fireside, you guys are visionaries, and vision is the starting point of all high performance. It's creating a mental mode where we engage on what we think is possible for us. And one of my mentors used to say it like this. He said, the more you see, You ought to see it before you see it. To see more is to see before. In other words, I have to see more of it if I'm going to engage in it. And then all of a sudden we have this vision, we have this mental picture. Then all of a sudden life hits. All of a sudden we get bad news. We get a report, and we have to adjust something in life. And then we have to engage in something called resilience, because the vision is still yours. The purpose is still there. But if we don't build these tools that make us resilient, we're not going to reach them. So we've been talking about these tools. And one of the tools that I definitely wanted to dive in today is, and I talked about a little bit last week, was embrace change. Embrace change. Everything around us is changing. Everything around us is changing. So if I'm going to, one of the tools of resilience is embrace the change. There is no way that you and I can think the same, do the same stuff, act the same way in an ever-changing world. The world is, long-term goals. And Seth, I think you and I talked about it. We used to say long-term goals are about 5 years out. Now,
Mm-hmm.
because everything's moving so fast, long-term goals are about 2 years out.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 years out.
Right.
Every 24 months, if you're working, you're going to have to be retrained where you're working. And so we have to embrace change. Things are going to change. Has it been difficult for you, Seth, in your life to embrace change?
Yeah, it has, because I think sometimes embracing change means embracing that the path you were on didn't work,
Yeah.
which for me is sometimes like a pride hit. Because for me, it's like there's like this emotional, I saw this in business where there was like an emotional attachment to the original vision that I had for Story On, for my company, which, started 6 years ago. And, a lot's changed in 6 years. The industry's changed, the competition's changed, my skill set's changed, my passion has changed. And so, I was kind of like holding on to that and not wanting to change, of like, this is who we are and this is what we do. When in reality, that was the first iteration, but we needed to change to be able to serve the people around us better. And so it took me a while to be able to accept that change, because by me accepting change, that meant that to an extent I was, the first plan didn't work.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes we have to accept change, and we have to accept that either we were wrong, or that something didn't work, or that someone else was right that we don't want them to be right, or something like that. So I feel, for me, my pride gets in the way of change sometimes, because it means, you can't figure out what's right on your own. You gotta trust, you gotta get some voices from other people.
Yeah. And growth requires change. And it's funny that we
Mm-hmm.
we want to grow, but we don't want to change.
Right.
Growth, think about where you were. Everybody on here, everybody on here talking. It's so glad to see Stephanie and Joe and Renee and Suzette. Welcome, Suzette. Marwan is on here today. Think about where you were a year ago, 2 years ago. Because you changed, you're probably going to run into some contradictions. If you're not contradicting your past self, then you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some beliefs I had just 2 years ago I don't have anymore, because growth requires change, and flexibility and change is an essential part of resilience.
Right.
It's an essential part of it. If we're going to make it, if we're going to bounce back after difficulties, it's going to require change, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bounce back. It's going to require change. Learning how to be more adaptable. We'll be better equipped to respond when we're faced with a particular life crisis, if we learn how to be adaptable.
It's interesting. It's interesting with resilience, because, like, thinking about resilience and change and how they go together, because in one sense, resilience, I think of like almost steadfastness. I think of, kind of remaining almost unchanged in the middle of life going crazy.
Yeah.
And so there's this element of resilience where you're staying consistent and you're not changing, but also a very key part to resilience, to, remaining steadfast through trials is being willing to change. So it's this weird, I don't know, it's this weird like juxtaposition of two things that feel different but also work perfectly together.
I think some things are unchangeable. I think our values should be set. I think our core values, the things that your North Star is your North Star.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the plan, I don't think the goal or the vision changes. I think the game plan has to change. I
So
think
then in
that's what,
that sense, it's like we remain unchanged.
right.
Our
Yeah.
values, who we are, remains unchanged, but we recognize that our environment and what's around us is always going to be changing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm an ex-football coach, so everything is sports to me. If a play, the goal is still to win the game, but if a certain play is not working, change the plan, change
Mm-hmm.
the play. And I think that is definitely what we're talking about here. Anybody want to come to the stage and join in? Let me open it up. I
Yeah,
got
we'd
some.
love to hear from anybody down there. Suzette, Renee, Joe, Kathleen, we'd love to hear from you, your
Yeah,
thoughts on resilience and change.
on resilience and building this tool, flexibility, the ability to change, the ability to embrace or adapt is one of the tools that build resilience. We are in an ever changing world, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to continue to change. And we're moving towards success, and we're moving towards our goals, and we're moving toward who we want to be and what we want to be. You have to be able to be resilient. Let me accept. Hey, Suzette, welcome to the stage. First time on, first time here. You can unmute yourself by I don't see where you got
There's
it.
going to be
Here we go. I figured it
There we
out.
go. All right,
love.
good.
I'm at work, so I'm going to be brief. Um, just hearing the way you define resilience, um, was an eye opener for me. If COVID taught me nothing else, was to definitely embrace change, because everyone had to change. Remote,
Yeah,
working remotely, just being able to do different and adapt to the world that that we were facing and that we still face. So you guys hit the nail on the head with saying, that growth requires change. I had to write that down. It seems so simple, but it's so profound. And sometimes it's the simplest things that just hit you the hardest. You know what I mean? That it's just so real. So thank you, one, for letting me know about the podcast and where to find you now. I'm going to spread the word. And thank you for your resilience and just, hanging in there and keep pushing forward and helping us to embrace, our best selves.
thank you, thank you. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the program. Yeah, we have to change. We have to embrace change. If we're going to grow, it requires change. Anyone else want to come on up and comment? Well, we're talking about tools to build. Kathleen, welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. I just wanted to throw out there, I'm currently studying for my master's in professional communication, and we're reading a book called Dancing on the Edge. And it is all about the persons of tomorrow and who is going to be able to be the leaders. And it's no longer focused on the traditional methods of leadership. It's more about people who can adapt and be resilient in the current state and be able to take all of these massive changes that we're going through and devise new ways of surviving in them. And so, I do believe very much in our moral compass and that all of the things that we have run into, during COVID. I've also had 2 really close encounters with my own mortality over the last year. And those things cause you to, of course, change and grow and become stronger and more resilient. But I do believe that resilience is that ability to take in your current surroundings, adapt quickly, make decisions, and move forward. And so definitely agree with you guys. I think it's a it's a new quality that we're developing fast.
Yeah, we have to. Well,
Kathleen,
thank you
I
for
love
sharing.
what you said. I was going to ask you what you think resilience means, but you answered that question. So you say in your profile that you're an author. I'd love to know, like, what kind of writing, what kind of work are you working on? Because it sounds like you've been through some potent experiences in
Yeah.
life, and so I'd love to know, like, what are you working on as far as how to like share some of those experiences with others?
Oh, well, I do have a blog that I wrote. I joined a veteran who was doing a journey across, I live in Canada.
Okay.
And so he was doing an awareness journey in order to bring about the concept that we have all these new veterans that come back from different things, different encounters. And unlike World War II, unlike World War I, they didn't come back in a big wave. They come back as individuals in communities, and they almost become hidden because there's not a big fanfare and that sort of thing. And a lot of them suffer from PTSD. And so I traveled with him for 250 days as he horseback rode across Canada.
Wow.
And that was a long journey, and we met a lot of people along the way.
Did you
And
ride a horse as well?
I did on occasion.
Okay.
But I was not the focus of the journey. My focus was to ensure that every community that we went into, that we had a welcoming committee, of a parade. I got all of the resources on board to be able to ensure the safety of all of our riders, because it was the veterans that we met along the way that actually joined him on his journey. And then more recently, I was in a vehicle overturn. I rolled a vehicle about 12 times off the Alaskan highway, and nobody saw the car go over the cliff. And so I had to climb out of the car in minus 25-degree weather and climb my way back up the 250 feet to the highway and wait for someone to come by. And I had about 45 minutes before I was going to no longer be here.
Wow.
And so I think that kind of helps build resilience. And I just have a belief that all of these experiences obviously build who we are, and that if we can kind of look at them for those sources of gratitude, that all of the trauma doesn't necessarily have to reside in us, that we can let it go and just let the resilience of our core be the thing that remains. And so I'm writing a book called True Love 2020, and it's all about having 2020 vision for who you are.
Amazing.
Well, I can't wait for the book to come out. When you finish it, please come back. I'd like to have you as a guest. I'd like to have anybody on this platform right now. I'd like to have all of you as a guest on my podcast, the Unstoppable Podcast, that you can find anywhere. But I can't wait for that to come out. That's awesome.
Yeah, Kathleen, I'll follow up with you offline because we'd love if you'd be willing, we'd love to dive a little bit more into your story on the Unstoppable Podcast. So thanks so much for jumping on stage and sharing, and we hope to have you back.
Oh, that's great. I would love that. Thank you so much.
And I want to welcome Joe to the stage.
Hey, Joe, welcome.
I believe is from Australia.
I am from Australia. In my very, very first time jumping on here, I see a friend of mine in the audience there, leads news debates. In fact, I go by the name Rocksteady, but it's come up as Joe, so I don't know how to make those changes just now.
Okay.
My first time, I just wanted to try this out. It's the very first show I'm listening to, so thank you for having me up. Resilience is a good look. I just to add to your podcast here is that I find myself to be quite resilient, but the problem I have in life is trying to teach resilience to my kids. Yeah. It's like I'm resilient, but trying to teach them that resilience, I'm kind of lost. I don't know how to toughen them up in life a little bit. I know they're only young. My boy is 7, but you know.
Well, Joe,
if
I could say this, man, Joe, listen. I know you're in Australia and we're over here, but everything is so fast and so automated. Everything is so instant. with these kids today, instant gratification. I sound like an old man, these kids today. With instant gratification, they'll learn resilience over time, and they'll remember what you have planted in them. Listen, life is going to teach them. Life is going to say no. Life is going to throw at them adverse situations, and they're going to remember everything that their father, Rocksteady, poured into them. And that will, so our job as parents, especially when we have youngsters, is to just kind of teach them some principles, kind of, pour into them. They don't understand now. Most of us on here are just really learning what resilience is. It would, once we get past 25 and 30 and 40, but you keep pouring into them, man.
I think that one of the big things that we battle here with resilience for kids these days is probably technology. And I think that somehow rubs away the resilience of what life is about, They're so exposed to instant gratification, what you're talking about, that I don't think they're learning the real lessons that they should be learning. And it's just scary for the kids of today and what they're going to be in the future if they're not taught that resilience.
Yeah. But I thank God that your kids have a father like you who will teach them that.
Rocksteady, I think that you just need to bring them with you when you go to box your kangaroos and grizzly bears. And you gotta tell. You can't think up there without explaining.
This is the problem. He cowers in the corner. He should be fighting it with his dad. That's the issue.
Yeah. So
I'm honored. First of all, let me say this, Seth. I'm honored that we are the first show that my Unstoppable show is the first show you jumped on. So
happy to have you here.
Yeah.
It's always memorable when you jump on a new platform and you do have your first show. It's something that you do remember. I spent a lot of time on the Stereo app, but I'm looking for other places to diversify, and this is looking pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's a great platform. It's a bit different, and the vision. And to anybody listening, I'll say that I think the vision behind this platform, and I've spent time with the founders and their team, it seems to be a bit different. Their vision is not to grow as fast as possible. In some ways they want this to be like an anti-social media type thing, to where it's quality. It's quality content. It's quality audiences. I think so much of social media and so much of communication in the last 10 years has kind of been really ruined or tarnished by, things just growing as fast as possible and then not being able to manage the growth. And then, there's spam and there's trolls and all that stuff. So Ralph and I love this platform, and how just the plan for this platform is it's steady quality growth, where people can come and have intentional conversations about things that need to be talked about. So
there is not one program
I
have checked into other programs and I listen to them faithfully, and you grow. In order to grow personally, professionally, you got to be around other growing people, and there's nothing like it. So thanks for jumping on here.
I love that, guys. Thank you very much. I'll jump back down, but I appreciate you having me up here. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
How do I go down again?
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can do it from the menu bar, or
there
we can. Go. Yeah, if you hit the menu, then you can leave the stage.
There it is. I got to give you guys one more tool. Okay, so we talked about, I got to give you two. We talked about embracing change. Here's another tool to help build resilience. And it sounds corny, but we're going to dive into it just for about 4 minutes. Be optimistic. And when I say staying optimistic during a dark period or a difficult time. It can be difficult, but you have to, a hopeful outlook is important to resiliency. It's positive thinking. It doesn't mean ignoring the problem. It doesn't mean that in order to focus on positive outcomes, it's not what it means. It means understanding that setbacks are temporary and that you have the skills and the abilities to combat the challenges you face. So my positive outlook is not like, I'm just going to wish it away. No, it's here temporary, and I have the skills to combat this. I have the skills to combat it. I have the skills to overcome life's challenges. This helps build resiliency. It's you can call it being optimistic. You can call it positive. You can call it being hopeful. And so we have to maintain that. Life is you're going to have challenges, but you should be developing the skills and be confident in the skills that you have to overcome these challenges. And every challenge that you and I face, it is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
It's temporary. We say in the church, trouble don't last always.
Yeah. And I think that optimism is it's almost like a deep rooted confidence in faith that in the same way that things changed, something changed and life was hard, something happened that is making life challenging right now. I think the optimism is a deep rooted confidence that things are going to change back. They might not go back to where they were, but that there's going to be good elements of life, that all of life is not going to be bad. And so I think it's not just this, oh, everything will be fine, but it's this deep rooted belief that, you know what, this is temporary. Like there's going to be good things that happen in life. There's going to be good things that happen to me, even though life is hard right now. There's going to be good things that roll out of this. And I think that feels deeper than optimism, but having that, I think, is really important to being resilient, because it almost gives us a through line through the challenge, to where if we can latch on to that knowledge and that belief that things are going to get better, then that's going to kind of helps to pull us through the challenge.
Yeah. Listen, things may not be okay, but you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Things are not great, but I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. And so this is what we're talking about, building resilience, guys. We're talking about just some tools to build resilience. And this is what we need. And it's going, adverse times do come, but you can still make it through. You can still have the proper attitude. You can still treat people right. You can still be a blessing to other people. We're talking to people from all over the world on this platform. We are legitimately all in this together. And it's the resilient people that are going to lead. They're going to lead us in and through and lead us out of these different things. And you can be one. You can be one.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm not giving any more today. That's it. We had 2 tools.
We got to come back next week for more.
Got to come back next week for more. Guys, if you haven't, head on over to wherever you listen to your podcast and look for the Unstoppable Podcast of Ralph Graves Jr. Have some phenomenal guests on there. And you guys can be a guest on there. We love to hear your stories of overcoming and all of you on here. So how you get on that program, how you get on my program is you reach out to Seth at, what's your email, storyon.co?
Yeah, Seth at storyon.co. You can also head to my website, successwithstories.com. Just let me know you found me on here, and we'll get you on route on Unstoppable with Ralph Graves Jr. I also know sometimes we assume people know about podcasting. So if you're new, head to, whether it's if you have an iPhone, Apple Podcasts, or if you're a Spotify user, or, Google Podcasts, head there and just search Unstoppable with Ralph Graves Jr. Hit subscribe, follow, whatever they call it on that platform. And every single Monday, we have new in-depth conversations that come out where Ralph's diving deep into the unstoppable lives. And then every Wednesday morning, we jump on here to just kind of have a live Q&A and live really discussion on different ways to live an unstoppable life. So that's what we got going on.
Yeah. And visit my website too. My website and Seth's website. Seth has a website, successwithstories, right? .com.
Yep.
And my website is Ralph at ralphgravesjr.com. And there's a community you can join where we're posting videos, we're posting teachings and lessons. If you want to join that community, you can join that community and be a part of what we're doing. We got some exciting things coming up in 22 that we'll tell you about as the weeks go on. But guys, let's just continue to be unstoppable together.
Awesome. Sounds good. Guys, thanks so much for joining, everybody. And,
everybody have a great week. All right. Bye-bye.